On the opening day of the Utah Legislature's 2011 session, lawmakers, tourists, and law enforcement officers gather in the rotunda of the state capitol. It is an unusual sight for the first day of an event that brings political leaders together, especially during a time when most state houses are increasing security to keep guns out. But in Utah, the opposite is true. When entering the main floor of the Capitol, there are at least 50 guns. Encased displays on one side of the circular opening house machine guns, rifles, handguns, and other firearms, most antiques, but all designed by Browning Firearms.
Where did they water cool it? Where did they pour the water?
So actually it's a hose.
Utah lawmakers designated January 24th as a one-time-only holiday honoring Utah native son and firearm inventor John M. Browning. The recognition comes at a time of heated debate about gun control. The Utah State Capitol, however, is open to a display of over 50 guns.
And so in this section here, we're talking about the different kinds of machine guns that he invented. There's one here that's called the Potato Digger. This first machine gun that came out in adopted by the Army in 1895, air-cooled. And then the one I'm standing in front of right now is a World War I water-cooled. It came out in 1918.
That is the voice of Ephraim Dixon, curator of the Fort Douglas Museum. He is standing next to a large machine gun placed on a tripod.
Well, we're celebrating Browning Day here today, and so we're kind of talking about the genius that he was in terms of gunsmithing and his ability to design and create new types of weapons.
John M. Browning was born January 23, 1855, in Ogden, Utah, where his father owned a gunsmith shop. He began to design guns at a young age and has sold many of his designs to gun manufacturers, such as Colt and Winchester, and eventually founded Browning Firearms. The company is still based in Utah, where today's weapons are designed and tested. Some of Browning's more popular designs are the 1911 pistol, the .50 caliber machine gun, and the Brown automatic rifle. Travis Hall is the chief operating officer for Browning.
Is renowned as probably the single greatest gun inventor that ever lived, and so obviously him being from here in Utah, or having come to Utah and settled, it's an opportunity for us to honor him and the legacy that he created.
At the same time the public was viewing the weapons downstairs, a Utah House committee met upstairs for a vote to name the M1911 handgun, originally designed by Browning, as the official state firearm. The legislation, sponsored by Representative Carl Wimmer, a Republican from Harriman, would make Utah the first state to adopt an official firearm.
I believe it's appropriate that on the 100th anniversary of the creation and the adoption of this firearm by the Army, that it take a small place, a relatively small place in the history of our state.
Steve Gunn, with the Gun Violence Prevention Center of Utah, testified against the bill.
This weapon is one of a class of weapons known as a semi-automatic pistol. The weapon that was used in the massacre in Tucson was a semi-automatic pistol. The only two weapons that were used in the massacre at Virginia Tech were semi-automatic pistols. Also, the massacre at Fort Hood. Also, the massacre at Appalachian State University. The weapon of choice in each of those massacres was the semi-automatic pistol. And I ask you, is this the time to be adopting as a symbol of the state the very kind of weapon that was used to kill all of these innocent people? And I respectfully suggest to you that it is not the time. But if you want to honor him, do it with a statue, do it with a resolution, but don't do it by picking out one of the weapons which he invented.
The bill passed the committee with a 9-2 vote and now moves to the House floor for consideration. Reporting for Utah Public Radio, this is Jesse Dredge.